Morning, everyone. Dr. Eric, your fitness physician and peptide doc, here to continue on my series about growth hormone releasing hormone and growth hormone releasing peptide, the GHRHs and the GHRPs, the growth hormone stimulating peptides that we've been talking about. I'm going to continue on, give a little bit more detail about them. So, GHRHs, they've been discovered back in, I think it was 1965, in glandular extracts. Back in the, a little bit more research was done back in the 80s, and it discovered how, again, the whole process works. So as I mentioned earlier, they stimulate the pituitary to secrete additional growth hormone. Now, what we're finding, as I mentioned in the last video, is that not only is it producing more growth hormone, but there are extra effects on other tissues of the body. There are what we call extra pituitary effects. The GHRH has been the receptor where it actually interacts within the tissues has been identified in multiple tissues throughout the body. So it indicates a bigger role than what originally thought. So it has effects on the body outside of what it does to growth hormone. Effects on the lymphocytes, the blood cells, the ovaries, the testicles, the skin, the pancreas, the bone, many other things. So it has this, what we call systemic influence, what we call an endocrine influence, because it causes an effect distant from its origination. What we call it an endocrine effect, again, mainly through growth hormone, regulation of its release. And then it also has what we call local effects through what we call autocrine and paracrine effects, that it acts locally as well as other tissues throughout the body. So many things. One of the, for example, and again, it's all about proliferation and cell survival and tissue repair. So wound healing by stimulating fibroblast proliferation and migration. It helps with the heart, then what we call the myocardium, which is the muscle tissue inside the heart, with healing and recovery and again, differentiation. Pancreatic cells, which can of course help your pancreas to continue normal function, keep that insulin sensitivity dialed in so you don't get insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. It can help with differentiation of the immune system and strengthening of the immune system, and most importantly, can help with proliferation and differentiation of stem cells, which are massively important for keeping our body young and strong. Where our bodies make a ton of stem cells, which are those cells that turn into other tissues. They make a lot of them as we're young, and as we get older, unfortunately, we make less and less of them. So that's why we're using a lot of stem cell therapy, like PRP therapy, to help regenerate tissues. But these peptides can actually stimulate the body to continue production of stem cells. So when you do the stem cell therapy, it's more effective. So I do a lot of that. We do that as well. Brain, sleep apnea, improving sleep, and helping with cancer. Actually, not a lot of people worry about growth hormone and cancer, but that's a whole topic for a whole nother day. But the bottom line is, if you don't have cancer, there's nothing going on with your body. If you're otherwise healthy, no cancer, there's no problem whatsoever. Now, if you have active cancer, obviously we don't want to probably be using these medications, but most of the time that's not a big deal. As again, we talked about, wound healing is huge, and I've got some other peptides I'm going to talk about that have been awesome for wound healing, healing injuries in muscle, tendon, ligament, bone, all these things. But these peptides are also a part of this armamentarium as well. It can be massively important for helping to heal tissues. So it increases the tensional and contractile strength and activity of all the cells, and it helps to, again, promote the entire healing process. Stem cells, again, are massively important. They work through similar pathways that they do on these receptors throughout the body, and we'll talk more about stem cells later. Sleep is massively influenced by these peptides and can be a huge benefit. One of the benefits I hear about the most from my patients is the effect on sleep, because it basically, growth hormone and the GHRHs help deep, slow wave sleep. We get into those deeper stages of sleep, 2, 3, and 4. It helps promote that. Also helps promote REM sleep, which is massively important too. It has an effect on the GABA system. The GABA is the inhibitory neurochemicals, neurotransmitters in the brain that promote relaxation. A lot of people take GABA supplements or other supplements to help promote GABA, but your body makes its own, and these peptides can help with that. So by improving sleep, of course, we're improving tons of things. I always talk about sleep, how important it is for recovery, for repair, for healing, everything. If your sleep is off, nothing's good. So by improving your sleep, obviously you're improving your health massively. Not only that, but your growth hormone, as I mentioned, is naturally produced during sleep. So if you have a good restful sleep, you're going to have a better production of growth hormone, which is one of the things we're trying to accomplish here in the first place. So a very quick summary of GHRHs, and then we'll move on to GHRPs. But basically, they regulate cell growth, proliferation, differentiation, survival, tissue recovery, tissue repair, and again, a lot of other effects on the system. We'll talk more about these in future videos, but improving memory, improving sleep, improving bone density. It can actually help with preventing atherosclerosis, improving heart function, improving body recomposition by assisting with fat burning and muscle building. And basically, it's a complex system. Like I said, local and distant effects, autocrine, paracrine, endocrine effects. And again, through these receptors throughout the body. It's not very different from growth hormone, which has a direct effect and a very unregulated effect. These affect not only by producing the growth hormone in a natural and circadian fashion, but has effects on the GHRH receptors elsewhere in the body. So that's it for this one, guys. And then the next one we'll talk about the GHRPs, which are slightly different and synergistic with the GHRH. It's very cool stuff. So we'll talk to you guys soon.